Hello everybody, this is Magdalena Tarot, still a baby channel, so welcome to this reading. I'm just saying that because well, it's true, I'm just starting out, so please, if this video means anything to you, if it speaks to you, inspires you in any way, please like the video and subscribe, because then I'll keep going. This reading is for the eclipse. I've been quite ill. Yesterday I was coughing too much to be able to do a reading, but I really wanted to do a reading on the night of the solar eclipse. So I'm doing it the night after, but of course the energy of the eclipses start before the eclipse, they carry on after the eclipse, and we've got another eclipse coming up at the end of July 2019, so we're in the beginning of July now. So we're kind of in this in-between phase now, so it still feels quite relevant to do this. When I do these readings, I lay the cards out before and really take a long look at them, because it's a deep read, although I don't want to go on too long. If you're new to this channel, which most likely you are because it's so new, what do I want to say? That sorry, I've been ill, and it kind of, I feel a bit disorientated. I haven't done readings for a while. This reading is not necessarily time specific. None of my readings are. I personally don't find that intuition can necessarily always works to time limits. Some people who are very specifically psychics, they can literally receive messages like, you know, this will happen on this date or this day or this amount of weeks. Most of us, most readers, it tends to be a bit more fluid than that in terms of time. So it could also be a reading you might notice for somebody else. You might think, oh my God, this isn't about me, but it's about someone I know. In which case, just pass the message on to them, because maybe for whatever reason they're not able to receive that message. They might just need to hear something from somebody else. They may not be into tarot cards, so just pass the message on to them kind of subtly. So I really feel like sometimes we're working, you know, in a web of kind of love and support, and I might give you a message that you might pass on to somebody else, and then, or they might pass it on to someone else, you never know, but we're kind of all working together in this. So just to encourage you to do that. This could be from your past, present or future. I've already said that. What else do I need to say? Yeah, I'm just going to get on with this reading. My readings, I feel like they're too long, so I'm going to try and condense it. So the overall, but yeah, this is for any sign as well, clearly, by the way. It's not specific to a particular sign. I will be doing the readings for the signs over the next week for July. So every sign will have its own reading. So this is a reading, an overall, a general reading. So it's a really strong reading again. The last one I did like this was for the, I think it was for the Sagittarius full moon, very powerful. This is also such a strong reading. So I'm going to start with the past cards. What I have here is the Hangman, supported by quite a few cards. I pulled quite a few for this. And what I've seen is that somebody, or some of you, the collective, have been in a hangman waiting. You've been in a waiting position. You've been, it's actually more than waiting, it's suspension. So you've been in this period of suspension where you have not been, you've been holding back, or have been forced to hold back for whatever reason, and it could be because of heartbreak. And I'm thinking in this situation, the reading, from what I'm seeing, it's very possibly because of heartbreak, but it could be because of anything. because of a loss of some sort, I'm hearing. You've been forced to hold back from and suspend your activities in desires. I've got the Sun card, and this is the Thoth tarot, by the way. I'm reading from the Thoth deck, which has its own meanings, different to the Rider and Waite tarot, although there's lots of parallels. But here we've got the Lust card, which is the Strength Major Arcana card in the other deck. So we've got a Lust card and the Sun card together here. That is what you've been suspended from. So it could be a reasonably long period. It could be months. I'm guessing months. I'm feeling months. Months of not being able to be involved in lustful pursuits. So I'm thinking maybe not in a sexual relationship, maybe not, you've had to withdraw from the things that previously maybe made you excited and full of desire. So you've been forced to pull back from those kinds of those aspects of your life that before lit you up, filled you with joy, and like I said, it could be heartbreaking. Something difficult happened to pull you back from those things. May not have been a choice with the Hangman. It may not have been a choice, although actually in the other Hangman they do choose. So some of you might have chosen for this period of abstinence in one way or another, and it's been really important for you. It's been very important, because we've got here the Page of Swords. In this deck, it's a really interesting card. I mean, it always is Page of Swords. Page of Swords gets a bad rap a lot because it can be a real troublemaking figure. But here it's somebody. It's the rebel, and sometimes sometimes one has to rebel by pulling back from what normally brings joy into our lives. And with the Lust card and the Sun card together, lots of bright colours, lots of glaring energy. It's like, whoa! Sometimes the things that brought us joy, that brought us love and light, the things that were our most burning desires, they kind of can blind us too. When we don't work with balance, with groundedness, we can get lost in our desires and our longings and our passions and our lovers and our joys. We can get so lost in them that we actually can end up sabotaging ourselves because we're so blinded. Passion and desire can blind us, and this is having to withdraw from those things in order to find clarity, in order to learn about why do I do the things I do? And if the things I've desired keep leading, for example, in relationships, maybe you keep falling madly in love with people who end up hurting you all the time, for example, and you might have just had enough of it. This is just one example, because it could apply to work, it could apply to friendships, family relationships. Pardon me. This need to withdraw and really examine closely. With the Page of Swords, this need to really examine mentally, withdraw and rebel against yourself. I mean, that's coming out really strongly now. But this Page of Swords is really rooted and grounded with the Three of Pentacles. So this deep inner willingness to work hard at examining those things in our life that sometimes felt so wonderful but led us deeply astray, So this period of withdrawal from certain things that brought joy has been really important for you, really important for whoever's connecting with this message. At the centre of the reading, we have the Four of Pentacles. In this deck, and in often other decks too, again, I feel like the Four of Pentacles often does get a bad rap. It's kind of like holding on to your heart, protecting yourself, holding on to your money, you know, not having flow in your life, being too resistant to change. But it's in this deck, it's called Power. It's the Power card. It can go in two directions naturally, of course. As we all know, if you're familiar with tarot, you'll know that, you know, the Four of Pentacles, like I said, can be about being defensive and being restricted and being too rigid. In this reading, I feel like it connects very much with this Hanged Man and this need to ground oneself and pull back and come to this central power, which is like I'm hearing the heart of things, the heart of the self, coming back to the self and discovering who you really are at your core without all of the, you know, the pizzazz of the Sun card. To withdraw from the limelight, to find out what you're really made of, who you really are. And with that, we've got the Two of Cups. So this is a really beautiful balance. We've got a 2 and a 4. Those two numbers kind of sit together really beautifully. And they put the energies balance each other out so beautifully, because we've got the Two of Cups, which is flow, which that's called love. Love together with power, you know, flow together with groundedness, with rootedness, with core strength. We've got love flowing from its core, from a grounded core self. And it's love in the beginning, it's the two. So, you know, at the center of this reading, we've got this, it just feels really centered, really connected. It's like paring back, pulling back, this getting rid of all the nonsense in one's life, all the things that cloud one's judgment. It's a kind of purification process, coming back to what's most important and pure and true and strong within the self. In the unconscious position, we've got the Queen of Cups. So this sense, the Queen of Cups, I mean, when I think of her, when I connect with the Queen, this particular Queen of Cups energy in this reading, I just feel like I need to stop talking and breathe and calm down and come again to this center. But this in the unconscious position, it's so powerful. She's so powerful because this is about an inner acceptance of one's true feelings and desires. True feelings and desires, inner feelings, your absolute true feelings, even if they're unacceptable to everybody else. Again, that connects with this Page of Swords, this rebel. It's like, I don't really, you know, it doesn't matter what anyone thinks. My feelings, my true feelings. And with the Two of Cups, Four of Pentacles, Queen of Cups, rooted by the Queen of Cups, I'm just feeling, I'm hearing and seeing the word truth, inner truth. What's my inner truth? This is like inner mastery of feelings, but not in terms of control, but in terms of accepting, embracing true feelings, even if they don't go with, they don't match the external world, external reality, other people's truths. It's like an inner conviction, an embracing of the self and the true feelings. That's really important right now. So, I mean, okay, eclipse is coming to my head. I need to remind myself that this is connected to the eclipse. Eclipse reminds you as well that this is all connected to the eclipse energy. So I'm just going to show you the Queen. I've got the candle here, but here she is. In fact, you almost don't see her. You almost don't see the Queen in this, because she's so immersed and at one with the feeling function, her feeling function. She's kind of, yeah, I mean, in this reading, it just feels so strong to have her in the unconscious position. You know, hidden underneath the surface, this is somebody who is so in touch and at one with their deep inner feelings. And if you're not there yet, if this doesn't sound right to you, but it sounds good to you, then this, trust me, I'm hearing, trust me, that this is possible. You know, this is something to focus on. You know, and your feelings could be horrible. I mean, this looks like a beautiful, harmonious card, but her inner feelings could be of being annoyed at someone, being angry at someone, and it's about accepting that. You don't have to act it out, because this is on the inside. This isn't about going and telling somebody, yeah, you did this to me and you did this to me. This is just simply about accepting the feelings within yourself. Can you do that? Can you do that for yourself? Can you love and accept yourself for all of the feelings? And of course, if there has been something difficult, we've got this hangman here. It's about accepting mistakes, difficult choices, all the things, all the feelings that leaves you with, all the feelings that a heartbreak has left you with. Really letting yourself feel them, be them, and accept them, even the feeling. It's easy to accept ourselves when we're thinking lovely thoughts, when we're thinking beautiful thoughts about people. But sometimes, what if you have a feeling of pain, of agony? You know, it's not about kind of mental analysis of it, but just an absolute acceptance of who you are and what you're going through on inside. And that's what the Queen of Cups does. She listens to others. On the external position, in action, she would be listening to other people. And in the internal position, she would be listening to the self and your own feelings. Now, in the conscious position, on the surface of this situation, we've got a difficult card, which is the 5 of Wands. So, you know, this is backed up, this is clarified by 3 really strong major arcana cards. We've got the Chariot, we've got the Hermit, and we've got the Hierophant. So what I'm seeing here is a unification, a process of unifying with the just to say, of course, 5s change. The 5s are a difficult number in the journey of the tarot, because you're midway. You're midway. It's a change. It's the number of change, and it's difficult. And at that point, you know, you've moved far away. You've moved beyond the first stages, for example, of being in love, or for example of, you know, I've had a big life change and it feels all exciting, and now I'm halfway. I'm not close to that exciting beginning, but I also feel really far away from the wonderful resolution or end to whatever cycle this is. So that middle point can be a point where we get stuck, where we might get stuck going around in circles, where we might get stuck in an argument, where we might get stuck with the self, not believing yet that we could possibly, you know, get to that end point. And with strife, there's this sense of getting stuck in a place within ourselves energetically, with our drive, with our intuition, with the possibility for action. We kind of it's like the flames of desire, of activity, of impulses, they're kind of getting swallowed up within the self. I hope this is making sense, because this right now, this card feels quite difficult to connect with the energy or to put it into words. Sometimes that happens, but it is about control, in a way, this tension between one's inner desires. That's what we talked about with the past position, this tension between feeling desire but having to pull back from desire. So it's an important place to be in. It's a tension between the two, the drive to move forward. It's perfectly clarified by the Hermit and the Chariot together. Complete different energies, going in, moving out. You know, powerful looking in, powerful looking out. And we've also got here another 5. So we've got the 5 Five of Wands and the Hierophant. So I would say there's a strong connection between these two. Now, what the Hierophant in this deck teaches us is the need to, for a teacher, for an external teacher, an external voice, either the need to go with the external, a teacher, a teaching, a master, or the need to, move away from a master, an outer voice, an outer teaching to the inner self. But I would say, with the Hermit here and the Chariot, what I would say is that this is about bringing together the inner and outer wisdoms, the wisdom of the self with outer teachings. The Chariot unifies opposing forces so that one can move forward with success and passion, and that's what's required with this energy. So if you're experiencing in the external situation in your life, and through this period of the eclipse, around the period of eclipse, or at any time, in fact, with this struggle between, I have this desire, I have this passion, but for whatever reason, and maybe you don't even know why, I just can't seem to move forward with it. It doesn't feel the right time. I don't feel inspired. I feel stuck with my energy. There is a need to look in, to find what one's inner voice is, and the Queen of Cups is certainly going to help you do that. And at the same time, finding out, so there's a movement between this Hermit. I go into myself, I find out what my what's happening on the inside, what is my inner voice telling me, what's going on inside of me, shining the light of awareness within the self. And then going out to the teaching, to the teacher, to the master, to the tarot cards, to, meditation class, meditation teacher, whatever. And finding out what resonates with the inner self. So finding out which teachings are resonating, bringing the two together. So it's not blindly following an external teacher or teaching. It's finding out which teachings feel true to who you are right now. And the unification of those two energies helps you to move forward. So, but in this, there may be conflict as well, which is what we might see with the Five of Wands. There might be a kind of getting stuck sometimes between these two. But once you're able to bring these two together, and don't worry about, it may not be about and there's a lot of opposing energies in this reading with the two of Cups and the Four of Pentacles. That's also quite opposing energies, with the Sun and the Hangman, opposing energies again. So there is this sense of unifying opposites within the self in order to move forward. So our future influence is the wonderful Princess of Pentacles. So, she is, I love her. I love her. She's actually meant to be pregnant in this. So, and also there's three cards in this deck, which are kind of like the ones for fertility, pregnancy, motherhood, the maternal, the mother archetypes. It's her and the Queen of Cups and the Empress card. So we don't have the Empress card here, but we have the two of the strongest mother archetypes in this deck. So there is a sense of something new being birthed, and that's what the Princess of Discs talks about. She represents a person or an energetic force. It could be you or somebody else coming in to help you, but I think it's you or a force within you which is going to be birthing something new. She is wonderful for new projects, bringing in, materializing new projects, new ideas, moving to new stages in one's life, new places in one's life, in one's self. She is the energy who can really birth and make real, manifest new energies, new forces, new ideas. You know, she can make them happy. Now, make them happy, I said, but that is a beautiful mistake. Now, here interestingly, she's clarified by the Three of Swords, the Tower card, and the Seven of Wands, which is Valor in this deck. So, Three of Swords, very, very interesting. So, in other decks, this is the heartbreak card. It can also be the third party card, which if you're a lover, like third party is probably one of the hardest things, not for everybody, but for most people, really difficult to deal with. Betrayal, you know, knife in the heart. Now, this can also be, in this deck, it talks of the way that one, I think, has negative thoughts all the time. You know, the way that one goes around in circles, you know, hurting oneself. So it's a 3 as well, interestingly, because 3 is the number of the Empress card. We don't have the Empress here. She's the one maternal archetype of the 3 strongest, like I've said. We've got the other 2 maternal archetypes, but not the Empress. I almost feel like she's here instead of the Empress, this card, because something about that, there is a wound here, that a core wound here, which is connected to one's ability to be productive, to produce. It's like when one gets a core wound, a core heart wound, it can stop one's faith, one's trust, one's ability to create, co-create, feel safe in being a creative force for other things, because you're blocked. It creates a block. So what we have here with the Tower and the Valor card is, this is somebody with the Princess of Discs above this. This is, I'm very sorry. This is somebody who has faced, you know, a Tower moment, which has forced oneself to really face this core wound. This self-sabotaging cycle of wounding. The Tower came into your life. Whatever difficult thing has happened before this, or it might even be during the eclipse. For some of you, for others, this will have been. It depends what your sign is, and where you are in in your own cycles. But for some of you, this will have been something that happened before that you are now coming out of. And for others of you, this will be something that's going to be happening during the eclipse, because of the eclipse. This Tower moment, something will be forced from some external force will absolutely, and I'm hearing devastate something, someone, a situation. Things will crumble, things will fall in order to reveal. And this is, I mean, Christ, this is not easy. I'm sorry to say Christ in a derogatory term. I love Christ. So, what I want to say is that, I mean, actually, maybe that I said Christ for a reason, because there is something about sacrifice here. So that actually that's come up a few times. So there might be a feeling with the Hanged Man as well. There might be a feeling that you have really had to sacrifice something of yourself. And that's painful. You know, that's really hard. And sometimes we can get stuck in that case with thoughts of, you know, why me? Why me? Going round in circles. Why me? Why me? What's wrong with me? Why me? What did I do to deserve this? This wounding can bring one into a real victim mentality, and you can really get stuck in your wound. And you might have needed a Tower moment to reveal the core of that wound in order for you to really face it with this Page of Swords And also this Princess of Discs, because this Princess of Disc is really in the position here where she's looking down at that wound. She's really looking down at it, and she realizes that it's not her, you know, that this wound is not me. And it took this Tower moment to make you realize, oh shit, that pain, that struggle, these thoughts are not actually me. They're things that happened to me. And because you have faced this heartbreak, these heartaches, these Tower moments, or you will face these Tower moments, this heartbreak, with real determination. And determination is a big thing in this reading. There's this sense of somebody who is determined, really determined to work through. You have faced this with valor. Someone is going to face this with valor, with honor, with real courage. You're really facing. And in the facing of the core wound related to this particular situation, you're finding such strength. And this separation from the wound, the realization that the wound isn't actually me. It's something I went through, but it's not who I am. You discover this Princess of Discs. You discover or rediscover who you really are. You discover how strong you are. You discover how capable you are. You will discover what you're made of, and you will discover that you actually are absolutely perfectly capable. And I'm hearing that word perfect. You're coming back to one's own perfection and realizing your ability to be a creative force, to change your life, to change other people's lives even, to turn your life around. So whatever the struggles you're going through are, you will be able to, if you face the struggles. And that is the secret to dealing with the eclipse transformations, the struggles, the dilemmas, the sudden crises that the eclipses can bring on, is to be in the flow. Two of Cups at the heart of the reading. To be in the flow, to face with strength the feelings that are brought up, and to face them with courage. And when you do that, you realize that you don't have to be scared of the difficult things. And in fact, the difficult things can be the things that make us. So this huge creative force is rediscovered in the self because of these terrible things that have happened, and that you get through. You know, this is like standing up for oneself, fighting for oneself. So this deep will to survive and thrive is discovered in whatever breaks down. Now, what I've also got here is the Four of Swords. It's called Truce in this, but this is the ability, again, to pull back, to move into a meditative state, to find this inner stillness. And I've got also the adjustment card, which is the Justice card in the traditional, in the other deck, traditional deck, the other deck, the Rider and Waite deck. So, which is all about centering, and that's actually sitting right by this. So there, you experience yourself, whoever you are, as having to be very centered, to find an inner stillness, to find absolute balance, absolute centeredness in order to move forward. That also connects with the Hangman. It connects with the Four of Pentacles. This need to find absolute balance. Clarity, to be still, to quiet the mind, to find balance in your life, to find that still part of yourself in order to judge, to know what's right, to know what's clear. It's about, again, it's actually stepping away, not forever, but temporarily stepping away from these kinds of energies. Let's compare this energy to this and this energy. Look at the difference in the colours. You're moving away from these energies temporarily to find balance, to find clarity again, in order to rediscover what one really needs in order to live one's life without constantly going over and over, falling into heartbreak again. For example, that's just one example. It could be if you keep ending up in the same relationships. This is a force. This is something crumbling, falling apart. This could have happened a year ago, by the way. The crisis could have been in last year's eclipses, and maybe what you're coming to a completion in this year's eclipses. For some of you, it will be that way. For others of you, this will be happening in this year's eclipses. The devastation, the falling apart of something and you'll be forced to find this clarity, to find this inner stillness, to move away from frivolous things, passionate pursuits. But the thing is, what you've got here, and this is how other people see you, but it's really important, this. You've got the Knight of Wands. In this deck, I know this can be like the kind of, the lover who leaves, the passionate lover who comes and goes. But in this deck, it's such an important energy, this one, because it's the energy one requires to launch something new, like passionately throw yourself into something in order to create. And he is jumping up in this reading. He is jumping up to meet her energy. So these two together are really beautiful energies. So, but he's jumping up out of this inner stillness. So there's a need to come back to one's inner stillness, inner self, whether it's through meditation, whether it's through time away from socializing, from going to pubs, whether it's away from lovers, away from sex for a while, whether it's going on a retreat, going to the countryside, whatever it is, and I'm feeling that this could be an energy with the Hanged Man that's lasts a long time. I'm not just talking about a week's retreat here, but quite a big life change, in order to rediscover and refine this energy. And it might be that when other people are looking at you, they're already, and that can happen sometimes, people can see in you where you're heading. They can see that spark in you, and sometimes when people look at you and they go, God, you're looking really passionate at the moment, like I'm seeing this new energy in you, and you haven't noticed it yet because you're working so hard. You've been working so hard to find centeredness, to withdraw from distraction, to ground yourself. You might have been working so hard on this that you didn't even realize that while you were doing that, what you've actually been nurturing without realizing is this fiery energy again. Interesting. Now, the next card we've got is the Four of Cups. So, which is the desire, the wish. It could also be a fear. So we've got another 4. So it might be there is a fear of becoming stagnant. That is the danger that with the 4 of Cups, which is the luxury card here. There could be a desire, and of course, it would make sense that one might desire luxury, that one might desire a flow of love and feeling and connectedness and all things good. But also a knowledge, and it might be where the fear comes from, of getting stuck. Because once one gets stuck, for example, maybe there's a new relationship that started or a new job, and it feels so lovely and so good, but you might get a bit lost in those good feelings, so you don't keep moving and keep changing with it. Does that make sense? We can get stuck in things when they feel good. So here it's a kind of warning that whatever good things start to come in, be careful not to fall back into old patterns. Keep reminding oneself with the Two of Cups, there's constant flow, constant movement, constant purification. So the important thing is, as new things start to come after the breakdown of something, after the facing of a deep wound, after the period of waiting in the hangman position, the important thing is, as new things start to come in, we don't get too stuck in them, that we keep coming back to this core, this focus, this ability to discern. This also, I've got the Prince of Cups here, which is the ability to be aware of one's feelings, to master them, it's about awareness of the feelings, to bringing thought into feeling. So we've got with the Queen of Cups on the inside, again, it's like keep coming back to the inner truth, the inner feelings, but also with the Prince of Cups, the ability to observe them, to master them, and to not always be ruled by them. So that might be also what this is about. Finally, the outcome card, which is just so utterly gorgeous, is the Ten of Cups. So this is like, with all of this work that you are going to do, because of anything difficult that happens in this eclipse for any of you, or anything difficult that has happened, you are going to do the work you need to do. It's going to bring you to a point in yourself where you will finally find the courage and the power to face something that has been really ruining your life, possibly ruining your life. Those feel like strong words, but that's what comes, ruining your life. It's been dragging you round and round in circles like a rag doll for a long time. Once you've done all this work, and you might want to listen to the reading again to go through what the things I've said, you potentially could really reach this point where you don't have to work anymore. And that's what happens. We work away on ourselves, on the deepest parts of ourselves. When you work at yourself at a deep level, you get to a point, an outcome where you don't need to work anymore. Now, it just flows. Things just flow. So the Ten of Cups is about absolute connectivity, connection with the self, with the family, with your work environment, just this sense of harmony and flow and movement, that everything's just coming together. This feeling that everything's coming together, that things make sense, things unify, things in your life are flowing, different parts of your life are flowing. Now, it could be relationship, family, work. It could be a number of things that they all just come together. It's really kind of, I'm hearing the word celebratory. When you have lost, when you have been here, when you have been in that hanged man position for a sustained amount of time, and you've faced this wound deeply with courage, with valor, when you have faced things, something that you valued and loved falling apart, exposing a painful truth, and you faced it with courage, when you finally rediscover love again after a long period of feeling relationship, an absence of relationship, of love, of connectivity, you appreciate it in a way you've never done before. And this is clarified by the Nine of Swords and the Ten of Wands. So all I'm going to say about this is, how when one, and the other card that's with this is the Six of Swords. So this is really about how one can read. It's like, it's called science, this card. And for me, it's about research in a way, researching the self, the ability to step back from these thoughts the weight, the heavy weight. This is about these two cards. In fact, these three cards together. What they're telling me is somebody has been able to examine deeply the thoughts, the self-defeating thoughts, the torturous thoughts that have come from wounds, years of wounds of being in difficult situations, which of course inevitably come back to childhood things. You know, the only reason we get stuck in these places is because we learned something as a child that was painful. We were made to believe something maybe that wasn't true about ourselves, about love, about life. And this is about the ability to really examine these and realize again, it's coming to me, that these painful thoughts are not me. The ability to analyze, to reflect, and to realize these difficult thoughts, this heavy weight, these years. It could be 19 years, it could be 29 years, it could be a lot of years of going round in circles. A realization that these difficult thoughts, they were never me. This is not me. So, you know, this is about being able to, with the power of your thinking function, stop yourself mid Nine of Swords and wake up and say, hang on a second, I don't have to do this anymore. I don't have to torture myself with these thoughts and these memories about these painful things that happen, because they are not me. And it's about finally coming to the end of a cycle of burdens, laying the burdens down, realizing the weight of this. And in one moment of realization, of really analyzing what's going on here and stepping back from it. Remember that page. Remember that wonderful page of swords, who can step back from everything and be the rebel and say no more. You know, this old system of doing things that I've got stuck in, that's trapped me, that begins with the Sun card. It begins with passion, it begins with desire, and inevitably ends up with this. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm going to pull myself back from it and look at it. And just in that process, one can be brought to the 10 of Cups, to the flow. So that 10 of Wands can transmute, transform, and become the 10 of Cups. And that's what I see happening here. And it's really very beautiful. This, I'm hearing, is the gift of the eclipse. For some of us, this is what the eclipse offers. It's a kind of teaching of the eclipses in a way. What I'm feeling that this reading is, it really talks of the power of the eclipses. How to face them, one way of facing them, to come to a positive outcome, a positive resolution within oneself. So listen, I hope this is useful for somebody. I hope it inspires you, even if it doesn't feel like your story. And this, I'm going to say the same thing I said with the reading for the Sagittarius full moon. You know, if this feels like it's too happy ending for me, like this isn't my story, what I'm going to tell you is, it could, if you feel far away from this storyline with this positive resolution, my news for you is, this can be your story. If you're listening to this, this could be for you. Whatever struggles you've been through, or you're going through now, or you're about to face with these eclipses, I promise you, there is the potential of a joyous and beautiful and bountiful outcome. It might require work, but whatever happens, whatever difficult things come, they always end up serving you. So look at all these cups. You've got to find a way to go with the flow. Accept whatever feelings arise, good or bad, from the changes that happen, that come, that have come. Find your inner power. Let everything else fall away that doesn't serve you, that doesn't really belong to you. Let it go. Whatever crumbles, whatever falls, whatever's taken away, whatever's lost, let it go and see what's left. And you potentially can really bring yourself back to this beautiful, this renewal, this joy, this connection, this love. So I'm sending you all so much love and strength, beauty, a gorgeousness, that the Ten of Cups, the Two of Cups, the Four of Cups brings us. You know, it's hard work sometimes, but it's really worth it in the end. This is the stuff of life. This is what life is made of. So I'm sending you blessings. If this means anything to you, please let me know with a like, with a subscribe, with a comment even. Comments are great. They help me connect with you and know if this resonates. So I'm sending you all so much love. Take care.